The stars looked different from this far out. Captain Daniel Wright stood on the bridge of the Intrepid, Earth's newest exploration vessel, and watched as his crew prepared for their first jump using the newly developed faster-than-light drive. "All systems ready, Captain," said Lieutenant Paul Wilson, his young navigation officer. "FTL calculations complete." Daniel nodded. After decades of theoretical work, humans had finally broken the light barrier. What they would find beyond their solar system was anyone's guess. "Engage when ready, Lieutenant." The ship hummed as the drive activated. Outside the viewports, space twisted in strange ways before settling into an unfamiliar star pattern. They had done it. Humanity's first successful FTL jump. "Sir, we're picking up signals," said Communications Officer Susan Miller. Her eyes widened as she adjusted her equipment. Multiple signals, artificial in origin. Daniel felt his heart race. First contact. Humanity had wondered for centuries if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer. "Send the greeting package we prepared," he ordered. The carefully crafted message contained basic mathematical sequences, images of Earth, and peaceful intentions. Everything the world's best linguists and scientists thought might help establish friendly contact. What happened next would change human history forever. 3 massive ships appeared seemingly from nowhere. They were elegant curved vessels that made the Intrepid look like a child's toy by comparison. "They're scanning us," reported Security Chief Andrea Davis. "Heavy energy readings." Daniel straightened his uniform. "Open a channel." He never finished the sentence. Without warning or response to their greeting, the lead alien vessel fired. The blast wasn't aimed at the Intrepid, but at the smaller support vessel, Discovery. In an instant, Discovery was gone, along with its crew of 38. "Evasive maneuvers," Daniel shouted as the bridge erupted in chaos. "Prepare for emergency jump." Lieutenant Wilson worked frantically at his console. "The drive needs 3 minutes to recharge." "We don't have 3 minutes," said Andrea, as the alien ships moved to surround them. Daniel made the hardest call of his life. "Launch all probes. Maximum scatter pattern." The Intrepid released its scientific probes in all directions, creating multiple sensor contacts that confused the alien targeting systems just long enough for the FTL drive to power up. As energy weapons converged on their position, the Intrepid jumped away. 3 terrifying days later, they limped back to Earth. Admiral Samantha Pierce stared at the footage for the 5th time. The unprovoked destruction of the Discovery played on the screen in her office at United Space Command headquarters. "No attempt at communication?" she asked. Daniel shook his head. "None, Admiral. They fired the moment they had a clear shot." Samantha turned to the intelligence officer standing nearby. "What's your assessment, Miller?" Kevin Miller, a serious man with tired eyes, pointed to enhanced images of the alien vessels. "We've analyzed what little data we have. These ships belong to something called the Orion Collective, a federation of multiple alien species. The markings suggest they're border patrol vessels." "So we accidentally crossed a border we didn't know existed," said Samantha. "Yes, but their response was extreme even by that standard," Kevin replied. "We've decoded fragments of their communications. They referred to us as a contaminating species." In another room nearby, xenolinguist Lisa Grant worked around the clock analyzing the alien language patterns. She looked up from her computer with concern. "I found something," she said to her assistant. "Their military codes use a surprisingly straightforward quantum encryption, and based on what I translated." She paused, her face grim. "They're not just defending their territory. They're preparing for a larger operation against Earth." Samantha called an emergency meeting with Earth's unified government representatives. As images of the alien ships displayed on the wall screen, she spoke with calm determination. "Ladies and gentlemen, we face an unprecedented threat. These aliens, this Orion Collective, destroyed one of our ships without provocation or warning. Now we have evidence they're planning more attacks." She pulled up tactical displays showing Earth's modest fleet of 27 combat-capable vessels. We're outnumbered and outgunned by a civilization likely thousands of years more advanced than ours. But humanity has never backed down from a fight when our survival is at stake. The room was silent as her words sank in. As of this moment, we are at war, and we need to prepare quickly because they're coming. 6 months passed quickly as Earth prepared for war. Every factory on the planet switched to building ships, weapons, and defense systems. Scientists worked day and night studying the small pieces of alien technology they had. High General HFY of the Zeth race stood on the command deck of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. Around him, officers from various species of the Orion Collective monitored their stations. His fleet of 200 warships prepared to enter the Sol system. "The humans have had time to prepare," said his second-in-command, Sub-Commander Vex. "Perhaps they will surrender when they see our might." HFY made a clicking sound that passed for laughter among the Zeth. Primitive species always believe they can fight. They will learn, as all others have. Unknown to the collective fleet, Commander Ryan Harris and his team watched from specially designed stealth ships. These small vessels had been built using ideas from Earth's old submarine warfare, made to hide rather than fight. "They're moving exactly as predicted," Ryan whispered, even though the aliens couldn't hear him. His ship floated silently among debris in the outer solar system as the massive alien armada passed by. He sent coded messages back to Earth. The enemy was coming. Admiral Pierce received the information in the war room beneath the Rocky Mountains. "They're following the most direct route to Earth," she told her officers. "Just as we hoped." Colonel Olivia Martinez nodded. Her dark eyes reflected the holographic display showing the approaching fleet. "Are the drones in position?" "Yes," confirmed Admiral Pierce. "Now we see if Dr. Johnson's idea works." Near the orbit of Mars, the collective fleet encountered their first resistance, a small group of what appeared to be outdated human vessels moving directly toward them. Scanning the vessels, reported a collective officer. "Primitive shielding. Minimal weapons. They appear to be unmanned." High General HFY waved a clawed hand dismissively. "Destroy them. They are not worth changing course." Several collective ships fired, destroying half the approaching vessels instantly. But the remaining drones continued forward at increasing speed. "They're accelerating toward our formation," warned the tactical officer. "Impact in 10 seconds. "Let them crash against our shields," said HFY confidently. "Show these humans the futility of." He never finished his sentence. The drones detonated at carefully calculated positions throughout the collective fleet. Each explosion released a specially designed electromagnetic pulse wave, calibrated to the exact frequency of collective shield systems. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the collective ships as shields failed across the fleet. "Impossible," shouted HFY. "How could they know our shield frequencies?" Lisa Grant had spent months studying the alien communications they'd intercepted. Her breakthrough in understanding their military codes had revealed the key to their shield technology. From hiding positions in the asteroid belt, Earth's real combat fleet emerged. Though small, only 50 ships compared to the enemy's 200, they had the advantage of surprise. Colonel Martinez stood on the bridge of the defender vessel Courage. "All ships target as planned. Fire when ready." Earth's ships launched missiles fitted with warheads designed by Dr. Eric Johnson. These weapons carried payloads based on reversed-engineered collective technology. The missiles struck with devastating precision, targeting engine systems and weapons arrays on the now shieldless alien vessels. 20 collective ships exploded in the first volley. "Counterattack," ordered HFY, rage evident in his voice. But his fleet was in chaos, their formation broken, communications disrupted. Earth ships darted between the much larger alien vessels, firing with remarkable accuracy before changing position. The human pilots flew in ways the collective's battle computers couldn't predict, taking risks no rational species would consider. After an hour of brutal fighting, 37 collective ships had been destroyed, and dozens more damaged. Nothing like this had happened to their forces in 800 years. "We must regroup," HFY finally ordered. "Full retreat to Rally Point Epsilon." As the remaining collective ships fled the Sol system, celebrations erupted across Earth. Humanity had won its first battle against the galactic superpower. But Admiral Pierce didn't join the celebrations. In her office, she studied the battle reports with Kevin Miller. "They'll be back," she said quietly. "And next time, they'll bring everything they have." Emperor Zethkor sat on his crystalline throne, his ancient face showing rare emotion. Around him, the 12 members of the Imperial Council waited in uncomfortable silence. No one wanted to speak first after hearing the news. "Explain again," the Emperor finally said, his voice barely above a whisper, "how a primitive species that only just discovered faster-than-light travel managed to defeat our border fleet." High General HFY knelt before his emperor, head bowed low. "The humans used tricks and deception. Great One. They somehow learned our shield frequencies and exploited that knowledge." Council member Drex Mol, a tall, blue-skinned being from one of the younger races in the collective, leaned forward. "Perhaps instead of crushing them, we should consider diplomacy. Any species that can adapt so quickly might make valuable allies." "Allies?" hissed another counselor. "They are contaminants. Their unpredictable nature makes them dangerous." Emperor Zethkor raised a hand for silence. "For 800 years, no species has successfully resisted the collective. These humans must be dealt with decisively. Prepare the full might of our fleets." Back on Earth, people celebrated in the streets. Videos of the battle near Mars played everywhere, showing David defeating Goliath among the stars. But in the underground war room, Admiral Pierce watched the celebrations with worry. "They'll come back stronger," she told her officers. "We need to be ready." Dr. Eric Johnson nodded as he spread diagrams across the table. His team had been studying captured alien technology day and night. "We've made progress understanding their propulsion systems and weapons," he said, pointing to various schematics. "But we need more time." Pierce looked at the newest intelligence reports. "Time is something we don't have much of." Commander Ryan Harris prepared his stealth ship for another mission. This time, he would go deeper into enemy territory than any human had gone before. "The mission parameters are clear," Admiral Pierce told him in the briefing room. "You need to gather intelligence on their response, but do not engage under any circumstances." Ryan nodded. He understood the stakes. His small ship slipped away from Earth using paths that avoided the main space lanes. For 3 weeks, he traveled farther and farther into collective space. What he discovered terrified him. At major shipyards and military bases throughout the Empire, thousands of warships were being prepared. The entire collective was mobilizing for war on a scale humans could barely imagine. Lisa Grant stared at her computer screen, reading the latest intercepted messages. After months of study, she now understood much of the aliens' language and communication systems. "Something interesting is happening," she told Kevin Miller when he brought her coffee. "Look at these messages from the Nix system." Kevin looked over her shoulder at the translated text. "They're questioning the Emperor's decisions. That seems dangerous." Lisa nodded. "The collective isn't as united as they want us to believe. The Nix are one of the younger species in their empire. They seem concerned about attacking Earth." "Could they be potential allies?" Kevin asked. "Maybe. Their messages suggest they've been looking for an excuse to challenge the older race's authority. Our resistance might be giving them courage." Lisa sent a coded message to Admiral Pierce. "Potential division among enemy ranks. The Nix species shows signs of dissent." As Ryan's stealth ship carefully made its way back toward Earth, he recorded everything he saw. In the Epsilon sector, he watched as a massive fleet assembled, at least 5 times larger than the force that had attacked Earth before. "This isn't just a punitive expedition anymore," he recorded in his log. "They're treating this like a full-scale war." He was about to jump to faster than light when his sensors detected unusual movement. A small ship with Nix markings was following a course that would bring it near his position. Instead of hiding, Ryan made a risky decision. He sent a brief signal, just enough to get their attention without alerting the main collective forces. To his surprise, the Nix vessel responded not with weapons, but with a simple message in broken human language. Humans fight well. Zeth control too long. Maybe talk. Ryan quickly saved the message. This could change everything. If the mighty collective was fracturing from within, humanity might have a chance after all. As his ship raced back toward Earth, Ryan knew the real war was just beginning. But now, they had a glimmer of hope. 8 months after the first battle, Earth had changed. Every available resource went to defense. A network of automated weapons platforms now stretched from Mercury to beyond Pluto. Early warning systems scanned the darkness of space for any sign of the enemy's return. Captain Daniel Wright stood on the bridge of his new ship, the heavy destroyer Defiant. Much larger than his old exploration vessel, it carried weapons based on captured alien technology. "All stations report ready, Captain," said his first officer, Linda Carter. Daniel nodded. "Take us out." Patrol pattern Delta. The Defiant joined dozens of other ships, creating a protective screen around Earth. Everyone knew the collective would return, and in much greater numbers. Far from Earth, in a hidden location near the edge of collective space, Admiral Pierce met with representatives of the Nix. Commander Ryan Harris had established the first contact, and now this meeting could change the course of the war. The Nix leader, Ambassador Krell, was tall with 4 arms and iridescent blue skin. "For centuries, the Zeth have ruled our people," Krell explained. "They treat us as second-class citizens, despite our technological contributions." Admiral Pierce studied the alien carefully. "And you're willing to fight against them." "We have waited for an opportunity," said Krell. "No species has ever successfully challenged the Zeth. Your resistance has inspired many younger races within the collective." "How many ships can you provide?" asked Pierce. 30 battlecruisers initially," replied Krell. "Not many compared to the Imperial fleet, but our vessels are among the most advanced in the collective." Pierce smiled for the first time in months. Sometimes it's not about the number of ships. It's about being in the right place at the right time. Dr. Eric Johnson worked with his team in a secret laboratory beneath the Pacific Ocean. For months, they had studied collective technology. Now, they were ready to test their most ambitious project. "The quantum disruptor works on a simple principle," he explained to Colonel Martinez, who had come to observe the test. "The collective fleet relies on instant communication using quantum entanglement. This device creates a field that temporarily breaks those connections." "Meaning their ships can't coordinate with each other?" asked Martinez. "Exactly. Each ship will be on its own, unable to receive orders or share information." Martinez smiled. Divide and conquer. The oldest strategy in the book. The warning came at dawn. Long-range sensors detected a massive jump signature at the edge of the solar system. The collective had returned, with a fleet of over 1,000 ships. Admiral Pierce addressed all Earth forces from her command center. "This is the moment we've prepared for. Remember your training and trust your teammates. Today we fight not just for Earth, but for every species that has ever been bullied by the collective." As the alien armada approached Jupiter, Colonel Martinez led a small fleet of fast attack ships directly toward them. It seemed like suicide. 50 human vessels charging toward 1,000 enemy ships. High General Peshurvor, once again commanding the collective forces, laughed at the human tactic. "They learned nothing from our last encounter. Destroy them quickly, then proceed to Earth." But as the collective ships moved to engage Martinez's fleet, sensors detected another human force approaching from behind Saturn. The aliens were forced to split their formation. "A simple diversion," scoffed Peshurvor. "Send 300 ships to deal with the second group. The rest will continue toward." His orders were cut short as 30 collective battlecruisers suddenly turned their weapons on their own fleet. The Nix had revealed their alliance with humanity. "Traitors!" roared HFY. "Destroy the Nix vessels immediately." Chaos erupted among the collective forces as they struggled to deal with enemies both outside and within their ranks. Then, at the critical moment, Dr. Johnson activated the quantum disruptor. Throughout the collective fleet, command screens went dark. The quantum communication network that allowed them to coordinate their massive force instantly collapsed. Captain Wright led the Defiant and 20 other heavy destroyers into the heart of the confused alien fleet. Without their ability to coordinate, the superior collective ships found themselves fighting individual battles against humans who had trained specifically for this moment. "Push the advantage," ordered Admiral Pierce. "Don't give them time to adapt." For 6 hours, the battle raged across the outer planets. When it was over, 300 collective ships had been destroyed, and hundreds more damaged. The rest retreated in disarray, stunned by a second defeat at the hands of a supposedly primitive species. Emperor Zethkor faced his council with cold anger. The mighty throne room, which had witnessed thousands of years of collective dominance, now felt tense and uncertain. "Twice," he said slowly, "twice our fleets have been defeated by these humans. How is this possible?" No one wanted to answer. High General HFY had been stripped of his rank after the second defeat. His replacement, General Vosten, finally spoke. "The humans are unpredictable, Emperor. They do not fight according to established military doctrine. And now they have turned the Nix against us." A counselor from one of the older races spoke up. "Reports from the outer systems are concerning. 3 more species are questioning our leadership. They speak of the humans as if they are some kind of saviors." Emperor Zethkor's eyes narrowed. "These humans must be destroyed, not just defeated. Prepare our planet killers." Across the galaxy, on worlds controlled by the collective for centuries, stories about humans spread quickly. Most citizens had never seen a real human, which only made the stories grow wilder. On the mining world of Delta Psi, workers whispered about humans who could survive in vacuum without suits. In the markets of Proxima Centauri, merchants told tales of human soldiers who could fight for days without rest or food. With each telling, the stories grew. Humans could regenerate lost limbs. They could see in complete darkness. They were immune to most poisons. Commander Ryan Harris and his intelligence team monitored these growing myths with interest. "The stories are getting out of hand," he told Admiral Pierce during a secure communication. "Some species think we're practically invincible." Pierce smiled. "Then let's use that to our advantage." Ryan's team began special operations throughout collective space. They left evidence of superhuman abilities at carefully chosen locations, footprints in impossible places, damaged alien technology that seemed torn apart by bare hands, and mysterious messages that appeared inside secure facilities. "Let them wonder," said Ryan to his team. "Fear is as powerful as any weapon." Lisa Grant continued her work analyzing collective communications. With help from their Nix allies, she gained access to historical archives that had been hidden for centuries. "Admiral, you need to see this," she said urgently during a meeting with Pierce. She displayed ancient records showing the early days of the collective. "The Zeth have manipulated their own history. These contaminating species they've eliminated in the past weren't threats. They were potential rivals who might have one day challenged Zeth control." Pierce studied the records carefully. "So their entire empire is built on lies?" "Yes, and many species within the collective don't know it." Pierce saw an opportunity. "We need to get this information to every world in their empire." On a distant planet called Vor, a young alien named Trell watched the night sky. Her people had been part of the collective for generations, forced to provide resources and soldiers to the empire. Tales of the human resistance had reached even their remote world. "Do you think the stories are true?" asked her friend. "Can humans really do all those things?" Trell shrugged. "Maybe not all of them, but they must be special if they can stand against the Zeth. Their conversation was interrupted by the sound of an approaching ship. Fear spread through the village. Collective ships usually meant trouble. But this ship was different. It landed gently at the edge of their settlement, and a single figure emerged, a human. The village elders approached cautiously. The human raised empty hands to show he carried no weapons. "My name is Alan," he said through a translator. "I come from Earth. We know your people have suffered under Zeth rule, as have many others." The elders looked at each other in surprise. This human seemed ordinary, not the monster or superhero of the stories. Yet there was something in his eyes that spoke of determination. "Why have you come here?" asked the head elder. "To tell you that you're not alone anymore," replied Alan. "The Empire is not as strong as they want you to believe. They've lied to you, to all of us, and we can prove it." He handed them a small device containing the historical records Lisa had discovered. "Your people deserve to know the truth." As Alan returned to his ship, whispers spread through the village. Soon, those whispers would spread to other villages, then to other worlds. Throughout the galaxy, the myth of humanity continued to grow, not just as warriors who could defeat the mighty collective fleet, but as liberators who brought truth to species who had lived under lies for millennia. 14 months into the conflict, Admiral Pierce called a meeting with her top commanders. The war room was filled with officers who had fought in the 2 major battles against the collective. "Defending Earth has worked so far," she said, pointing to the star map. "But we can't win a war by staying in our own system forever." Colonel Martinez nodded. "The collective still has thousands of ships. They could keep attacking us until they find a weakness." "Exactly," said Pierce, "which is why we're changing our strategy. It's time to take the fight to them." Captain Daniel Wright studied the map. "Their territory is vast. Where would we strike?" Admiral Pierce zoomed in on a star system labeled Epsilon Eridani. "Here, their main shipyard. According to our Nix allies, they're building new weapons specifically designed to counter our tactics." The room fell silent as everyone understood what she was suggesting. This wouldn't be a defensive battle near Earth. This would mean going deep into enemy territory. Captain Wright led the Defiant and 5 other heavy destroyers toward Epsilon Eridani. His ships had been modified with Nix stealth technology, making them harder for collective sensors to detect. "Approaching target," reported Linda Carter. "Shipyard in visual range." Through the view screen, they could see the massive orbital construction facilities. Dozens of partially built warships hung in space, surrounded by worker vessels and defense platforms. "They're not expecting us," said Daniel. "They think we're still hiding in our solar system." He activated the ship's communication system. "All vessels, execute battle plan Tsunami." The human ships split into pairs, each targeting different sections of the shipyard. Daniel had studied ancient naval warfare from Earth's history and adapted those tactics for space. The collective's battle algorithms were programmed to fight according to established galactic doctrine. They had no defense against strategies from Earth's pre-space era. The Defiant and its sister ship charged directly at the main defense platform, while firing decoys to confuse the automated targeting systems. Meanwhile, the other pairs approached from unexpected angles, using the half-built ships as cover. "They're scrambling fighters," reported Linda as alarms began blaring throughout the shipyard. But it was too late. The human ships launched their missiles at key structural points, causing chain reactions through the delicate framework. Within minutes, the massive shipyard began breaking apart, taking with it dozens of nearly completed warships. At the same time, Colonel Martinez coordinated attacks against multiple targets across collective space. Small, fast human ships appeared seemingly from nowhere, struck critical facilities, and disappeared before substantial defenses could be mounted. The Nix provided intelligence on which targets would cause the most disruption. Fuel depots, communication relays, and supply warehouses all came under attack within hours of each other. "Make them think we have hundreds of ships," Martinez told her captains. "Keep moving, never strike the same sector twice in a row." The strategy worked brilliantly. The collective was forced to spread their defense fleets thin, never knowing where humans might appear next. Dr. Johnson's team created another surprise for the enemy. They developed a computer virus specifically designed to infiltrate the collective's automated defense systems. It has one simple function, he explained to Admiral Pierce. It makes their systems identify friendly ships as enemies. The virus was deployed by stealth drones at key defensive outposts. Soon, reports flooded in of collective ships firing on each other, further adding to the confusion throughout their territory. Emperor Zethkor called an emergency meeting of his council. The Grand Chamber, once a place of calm deliberation, now echoed with angry voices. "These attacks are happening everywhere at once," shouted one counselor. "How many ships do these humans have?" "It's not about their numbers," said another, more thoughtful voice. "They're using our size against us. We can't defend everything." Vostan, the new High General, looked haggard from lack of sleep. 15 member species have now officially requested permission to negotiate separate peace terms with the humans. "Traitors, all of them," hissed Emperor Zethkor. "No one leaves the collective." From the back of the room, a disgraced former general spoke up. It was HFY, no longer in his military uniform. "There is one solution, Emperor. The forbidden weapons. Planet killers. If we destroy their homeworld, this resistance ends." The council room fell silent. Such weapons had not been used in thousands of years. Emperor Zethkor's ancient eyes narrowed. "Prepare them. Earth will be reduced to dust." 2 years after first contact, the galaxy looked very different. The once mighty Orion Collective was fracturing. Nearly a third of its member species had declared independence or were openly supporting the human alliance. Admiral Samantha Pierce stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Liberty, looking at the assembled fleet. Ships from Earth flew alongside vessels from the Nyx and 7 other former collective species. Together, they formed an armada unlike anything the galaxy had seen before, not because of its size, but because of its diversity. "All fleet elements report ready, Admiral," said her communications officer. Pierce nodded. "Begin the jump sequence. We're going to Zeth Prime." This was humanity's boldest move yet, taking the fight directly to the Imperial capital world. Not to destroy it, but to force an end to the war. On Zeth Prime, Emperor Zethkor received the news of the approaching fleet with cold fury. How dare they come here? To the sacred homeworld. His counselors looked nervous. Many had already fled the capital, sensing the Empire's coming fall. "The planet killer weapons are almost ready," said Shirvor, who had regained some influence due to the desperate situation. 3 days more, and we can launch them against Earth." "We may not have 3 days," replied one of the remaining counselors, pointing to the long-range sensors. "Their fleet will arrive in hours." Zethkor made his decision. "Concentrate all our remaining forces here. We will destroy this human alliance once and for all." Commander Ryan Harris led a small stealth ship toward the far side of Zeth Prime's largest moon. Intelligence from their allies had revealed the location of the planet killer weapons, massive devices capable of destroying an entire world. "We have one shot at this," he told his team. "If those weapons launch, Earth is finished." His team moved silently through the secret facility, placing explosives at key points. They had almost finished when alarms suddenly blared. "We've been detected," shouted one of his team members. Ryan activated the detonator immediately. Throughout the facility, explosions rippled through the delicate equipment. The planet killers would never launch. "Back to the ship," he ordered. "Our part is done." As Admiral Pierce's fleet arrived in the Zeth system, they didn't immediately attack. Instead, they established a blockade and began broadcasting a message to every world in the collective. The message contained the historical records Lisa Grant had discovered, showing how the Zeth had manipulated their own history to maintain control. It showed proof of their lies, their elimination of potential rival species, and their systematic oppression of younger races. "We don't come to destroy," Pierce's voice announced across the communication channels. "We come to bring truth and freedom." Near Saturn's rings, a desperate space battle unfolded. High General HFY, commanding the last major collective battle group, had bypassed the human blockade and made one final attempt to attack Earth. Colonel Olivia Martinez led the defense forces, engaging the enemy in the swirling debris of the rings. The ice and rock provided perfect cover for her smaller, more maneuverable ships. HFY's flagship, the Imperial Might, dwarfed Martinez's vessel. But size wasn't everything in this battle. Pattern Omega, Martinez ordered, and her ships executed a complex series of maneuvers that no collective battle simulator could have predicted. The battle ended when Martinez's ship, though badly damaged, managed to disable the Imperial Might's main engines. As his ship drifted helplessly, HFY finally understood that the era of Zeth dominance was truly over. On Zeth Prime, the Imperial Palace was surrounded not by enemy troops, but by the planet's own citizens. Thousands of Zeth had taken to the streets after seeing the historical records, demanding answers from their emperor. Inside the palace, Emperor Zethkor faced the human delegation led by Lisa Grant. For the first time in his long life, he felt something new: shame. "How did this happen?" he asked quietly. "How did one young species bring down an empire that stood for millennia?" Lisa smiled. "Because you tried to exterminate us rather than understand us. The greatest strength of humanity isn't our technology or our weapons. It's our ability to adapt, to think differently, and to unite with others for a common cause." As the Emperor surrendered, the news spread throughout the galaxy. The human war had ended not with Earth's destruction, but with the liberation of countless species from Zeth control. A new era had begun, with humanity taking its place among the stars not as conquerors, but as the unexpected champions of freedom throughout the galaxy.